can be, or religions can be impacted by outside views, and there's a therapeutic worldview, healing, trauma, recovery, psychology, and now especially TikTok psychology and pop psychology, and how that's impacting the way we're thinking about Islam. I think it's a very important question, because in this worldview, feelings they take a place above facts. Your feelings are your ultimate truth, and your ultimate objective is to come to a place of healing. So you'll have somebody who is doing all kinds of messed up things, and you say, why are you doing that? I'm going through a process of healing right now. And so how long is this process? I don't know, but I'll let you know, because I'm still recovering from a lot of trauma. Okay, what are the steps to this healing? I don't know, I'm in the middle of a process. Can you tell me what this process is? The process is the process. What can I tell you? Right? There's also this, because as psychology developed in the last century, there's the Freudian worldview, there's the Adler worldview. They're key figures at the dawn of psychology as we know it now in the West. But the Freudian model won in the end. It dominated. And the Freudian model basically suggests that all human beings are fundamentally broken. We're fundamentally broken. And because we're broken, we're just going to have to spend the rest of our lives undoing the endless damage, minimizing the damage, right? So this is at the beginning, at the starting point, this already contradicts the narrative of the Qur'an, the narrative of the fitrah. كُلُّ مَوْلُودٍ يُولَدُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ, right? And لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. It already diverges from that. And now, because of that, now if you, for example, stole money and you got caught and you went to jail, and then after you came out of jail, I think I need to talk to a therapist. Why did I steal? Well, this is because your mother, when you were little, used to yell at you, and this is the trauma, and it's manifesting in the Kit Kat that you stole and you ate because it reminded you of your mother. And there may be, I'm not minimizing it, there may be a role of childhood trauma and traumatic experiences impacting some of your behaviors, but let's look at this from the Quranic lens for a moment. Let's just take the case of Yusuf alayhi salam as an example. Is Yusuf alayhi salam traumatized as a child? Okay, yeah. Has he been kidnapped? Has he been abused by family members? Has he been put into a situation where even if an adult was put in that situation, inside of a well, we don't know for how many days or hours, etc., would they go through lifelong PTSD as a result? In today's term, it's true, it's a fact, right? And then he comes out of that and he's now enslaved, right? So he's a child that's been displaced and put into child trafficking. And then on top of that, as a young adult, he not only has been completely abandoned by his family, not only that, he's then falsely accused and imprisoned without a trial, so he's going to spend most of his young life around criminals who are probably psychologically unhinged. So he's not in a psychologically healthy environment, he doesn't come from a healthy background, he's got several traumatic experiences. I mean, from a psychological perspective, this would be a really serious case study of someone who is deeply, deeply troubled and traumatized by their past, right? And yet, you find that throughout the story, he is the pillar of stability when everything around him is unstable. Everything around him is unhinged and he's just standing firm on his ground. And you could say, well, that's because he was a prophet. No, hold on a second. Allah is teaching us something profound here about our faith. This, and if you think this is an isolated case, is Ibrahim alayhi salam being psychologically and under threat of being physically abused by his own father? Let's use psychological language for the prophets for a moment, right? Is Nuh alayhi salam being psychologically abused? Is he in a toxic relationship with his wife? Is that the case, right? Is Yaqub alayhi salam being psychologically abused by his own sons? The Prophet ﷺ and his uncle. So the idea that somehow prophets or the people or Ashabul Kahf, have they not experienced abandonment from their family? Right? We're even talking about non-prophets now, even non-prophets, right? And what I'm trying to get at is now what the narrative that's being told is your trauma defines you. Your trauma defines you. You went through so much, no wonder you're so broken. Oh my God, you're damaged. Let's keep unpacking your damage. And you go into therapy and you open up all that damage. Now I know why I hate everyone. Oh, thank you so much. Now I realize. And then every time you do something messed up, the next time you lie, the next time you cheat, the next time you steal. You don't know what I've been through. I was diagnosed with a trauma. This is a trauma response. Well, if that's the case, every time someone murders someone, this is my trauma. You know? Right? What did Allah say when we're going to be held responsible on Judgment Day? He said, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ. He could have said وَالْعَقْلَ, but he said وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. الفؤاد كذلك مصدر المشاعر. It's the place where all our feelings rest. You cannot say, I behaved in this way because of my feelings, because of my trauma, because of the emotions that I'm carrying. Yes, our psychological conditions and our past impacts our behavior, but it never takes our ability to make the right decision away. And in modern psychology, it's almost as if you don't even have control. It's just your trauma did it. You didn't do it. It's your mom who did it. And she has generational trauma, so it's your grandma who did it. Right? But it wasn't you. It wasn't you. It can't have been you. And so you start constantly identifying yourself as a victim. And when you're the victim, then everybody else is the perpetrator. And if you're the victim, then when you say something wrong was done, it can't be you because you're the one who the wrong thing was done to. The only one who can be the victim is someone else. And one of the core fundamental essences of Islam is self-assessment, self-evaluation, muraqabah. بَلِ الْإِنسَانُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ بَصِيرًا لَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Over and over again in the Quran. You have to have a view of yourself. You have to have an insight into yourself. If you're the victim, guess what? You're not the sinner. The people who hurt you are the sinner. And even when you sin, what did you expect? That was my trauma response. That was just me being a victim. So the victim label is the best branding for the zalim. Is the best. You know what our President of the United States, what he does every time he gets upset and does something? They're the ones who are... He's the victim. Everybody else is the oppressor. He's the victim. You understand? This is the mentality of the oppressor. The brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam are committing a crime against a child. Right? Guess how they see themselves? As victims. Dad doesn't love us, that's why we're doing this. It's dad's fault. They identified themselves as victims. We have to develop Quran-inspired psychology. Because Freudian psychology is actually diametrically opposed to Quran-inspired psychology. The starting point is the opposite. The starting point is the opposite. And this is work that needs to be unearthed. I've tried to highlight some of these things in my durus on some of the surahs where there is a convergence between the Quran and psychology, but there's a lot that needs to be done here. And I jokingly say this, I'll end with this, I jokingly say this, people love Surah Yusuf. And I'll tell you why they love it. They love Surah Yusuf because they say, I love the story of Yusuf alayhi salam because he went through so much, and I also have gone through so much. I identify with him so much because I really relate with him. Bro, you have main character syndrome. You want to be the Yusuf of your story, and everybody else is his brothers. Right? That's how you want to frame this. This is how you want to position everybody else. That's because you want to play the victim. The amazing thing about Yusuf alayhi salam is he never identified himself as a victim. Never. He's the biggest victim in the Quran, I would argue. He's a victim from multiple angles. You know, his own siblings, strangers, the one who hired him, this woman. He's a constant victim. Never once does he describe himself as a victim. He constantly looks at his experiences as a reason to learn from and grow. That's it. He's just growing. Those scars are just making him stronger. They're not making him weaker. He's not living in them. He's not going around the jail cell saying, they put me here. I didn't even get a fair trial. I didn't even do anything wrong. Somebody listened to me. Oh my God. And my brothers did this to me before that too. Oh my God, everything just wrong happens to me. Why does this happen to me? I was a kid. It wasn't even my fault. And they just took me in a well and put me there. Why would that happen? And even the people who were supposed to help me and took me out, they sold me in a market. Oh my God. The bad things keep happening to me. Why is Allah doing this to me? Sound familiar? And you like the story of Yusuf alayhi salam? Please, read it again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.